Hello and welcome. You're watching Agenda with me, Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. The GST or the Goods and Services Tax will be rolled out on July 1st in the historic Central Hall of the Parliament. At midnight, all the parliamentarians will get together to roll out what is said to be the biggest tax reform since independence. And everybody around it is talking about it and is nervous. So on Agenda today, we've decided to sort out some queries for you. And through the week, we'll be picking up issues and industries and trying to sort out all those questions. Today on the program, we address two industries which everybody is talking about. Are your cars going to be any cheaper or more expensive? Are your phones, tablet phones and other electronic items going to be any cheaper or more expensive post GST? And we've got a great panel here today. We've got Prateek Jain from PwC, and he's our GST guru for today. He'll be taking all those questions and making your life easier. We've got Hari here, who's from Translease, and he will be telling you whether your Ola cabs and your Uber cabs, which practically has everybody dependent on them now, are they going to be any cheaper or more expensive? We've also got Jagdish Khattar, who will be taking our expert on auto today, and he will be taking questions on that. Thank you all so much, gentlemen, for joining us on the program. Prateek, I'll start with you. The question, once I tweeted about this program, the one question that I've got repeatedly is, should we buy a car now before 1st of July, or should we just wait? Because all these offers are really exciting. But give us some clarity over this. Are cars, and we're sitting in a Mercedes showroom today to figure that out, are cars going to be any cheaper, or are they going to be almost the same rate?
Okay, so my analysis shows that except for motorbikes, which is more than 350cc, all the other cars should be cheaper under GST. Okay, now the rate of GST differs from car to car. For smaller cars, petrol cars, it is around 29%. For a smaller diesel car, it's 31%. And for the bigger cars, it is 43%. It is 28% GST and 15% cess. Now, if you compare those rates with the existing tax rates, you'll find that the luxury cars, where the rate is 43%, the effective rate is coming down by 5 to 7%. Okay. For the smaller cars, the effective rate should come down around 1 to 2%, and for the bikes also around 1 to 2%, except 350cc and above, which is going to be more expensive. So therefore,
basically, premium cars will get cheaper, premium bikes might get a little more expensive.
Yes.
The rest of the rates remain pretty much the same or might get lower.
Yes.
But then the question is, and just today I was hearing everywhere you've got advertisements now, even Honda, for example, is saying, don't worry, buy a car today, we'll give you the exchange rate. There are other companies like Hyundai, etc., who are coming out and tell you buy now, not post GST. So is it just frenzy, or
no,
is it?
I think it's a combination of many things. I think people want to get rid of the stock as on 30th June because they are unsure as to what will happen to the taxes which I have already paid earlier. Because I have to come GST on all these cars that you're seeing here, they're allowed to charge 43% tax. Now, these cars have already attracted some taxes earlier, which is excise duty and central sales tax and so on and so forth. Now, government is giving offsets for many of those taxes, but those offsets may not be enough for them to neutralize all the losses. So they want to sell it now. Okay. Now,
but the question is, should they buy it now then? This basically means...
Yeah, so this Honda thing which you mentioned, I think is very intelligent for any manufacturer to do that, to say that, look, don't worry, you buy it now, if after 1st July I reduce my prices, I'll give you the balance. What you will see is that if I'm buying a premium car and the difference is around 5 to 7% under GST, how much discount I'm getting now? If I'm getting 5 to 7% discount or more, it makes sense for me to buy now. But I think all the auto manufacturers...
So no harm in leveraging the discounts offer going at the moment. So the frenzy is not that wrong.
Mega sale.
Big mega sale
everywhere you go.
Day.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, my dad also had that question. I'm sure he'll be very glad to get that answer. I also have with me Jagdish Khattar on the program today. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. You heard what Prateek had to say. As an industry person, how do you see GST rolling out? We always, we've debated about how taxes on cars have auto sector on the whole have already always been high. So you've sort of settled up to that issue. But particularly from this June-July transit period, how do you see that playing out?
You see, as has been mentioned earlier, it's one way of looking at it is that the dealers and the manufacturers want this stock to be liquidated. The other is, as a manufacturer, we always have a fear that if a customer feels that the price is going to come down, he won't buy today. And the problem is that if even for 15 days they reduce their buying, then the production and all, everything gets choked. So that is why the manufacturers are giving today more or less the same price it would be after the 1st of July. So I mean, that is one of the reasons that there is this frenzy and all that is taking place. So the answer, as has been mentioned, is either you buy now or later is more or less the same, because you are getting the same price. Now coming back as it's going to roll out, see, as far as the cars are concerned, I think more or less is the same cost. I think it's 1% more because it's 28 plus 19, but that's only marginal. What my little reservation and problem is that, you know, India became strong in the automobile industry in the last 15 years because we had differential prices for small cars, compact cars. As a result of that, the volumes came and we became major. Now today we are exporting 8 lakhs compact cars, and also we became component supplier and all.
That trend might change for GST?
See, now that is what, because it's going, the gap between sedan and compact cars is going to be so low, people will move into that. I think the growth will get affected. Second, the decision to increase the hybrid to the top end.
Back to you on the pricing
I think it's a retrograde step.
Hold your thought there. I'll come back to you on the pricing. I also have with me Hari here. Hari, one question for everybody, you know, who doesn't have a car today, or is everybody in the metros at least is completely dependent on Olas and Ubers. You are somebody who deals into leasing of cars.
Yes.
Tell me, what is going to be the impact? Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Because one sector, you were telling me earlier, that is going to be hugely impacted is a 30% hike in leasing.
Yes. So while at the same time we welcome the biggest, as you rightly said, indirect tax reform in India, which will make the businesses, especially our industry, going forward, all the new leases what we will be doing from 1st July, there we are completely comfortable and the congenial atmosphere will be provided and we see a boom to the industry. But at the same time we are little worried on the existing leases. Altogether the industry has over 1 lakh leased vehicles as on date to various corporates and to the drivers through the Ola and Uber. So they are
How
going
does
to
that change?
So this lease rent of these vehicles will be immediately impacted up to 30% incremental outflow from the customers, and that will have immense impact on each and every pocket. So, and this amounts to almost a double taxation because currently we are paying a 13% VAT on these leases, and from July on these leases, which cars have already been bought by us all together, wherein all the embedded taxes including excise duty, cess, everything has been paid by buying these cars.
So what is the industry doing about this? So, does this mean that, you know, Ola and Uber also lease out their cars?
Yes.
So they have the driver partners, what they call. They're not really owned by them. What happens in that scenario?
So the cost to the drivers is certainly going to increase by 30%, but it depends upon these operators, taxi aggregators like Ola and Uber, whether they pass on to the customers or the drivers or they absorb. But apart from the other industry, we will have to pass on this cost to the customers, and because of the sudden increase of 30%, there will be a spurt of foreclosures, maybe, but we are, as an industry, we are in talks with the government for appropriate relief, and we have been assured that yes, we will look into it and they are considering it.
And with the amount of you know, protests and strikes that we've seen by Ola, Uber, this sounds like a bit of a grey area, and this just might lead to another confrontation. I'm worried about that. As a user, I'm worried about that. I just at this point want to take some questions from you guys. You had a few questions on auto, please go ahead.
Correct, yeah. You see, like, you know, I mean, my question goes to you. See, automobile industry is fairly doing all right, if I'll talk about. But GST, like many people, the objective of GST is, one, that it should help the ordinary people. You see, the biggest share, the market share, 55% market share is with the hatchback cars. And if you see the hatchback cars, they are getting little burden on their pocket. Why? 1% on petrol and 3% on diesel it is going up. As you mentioned, the luxury premium sector. Premium sector, if you look at, you know, I mean, whereas like there was a 49% tax earlier, and now that has been reduced to 43%. This is very surprising. Why the premium sector has been you know, I mean, taken care so well by the government.
As well?
Yes, I mean, so you're right about the premium cars. It's going to be cheaper. However, having said that, I don't think that on smaller cars the incidence will go up. Now, you can question why not it is coming down by 6%. That's a question that to be asked. But I don't think it is becoming expensive vis-a-vis what you have today. Because we have done some working and we have found that smaller cars today also attract around 28-29%. Today there is a difference between petrol and diesel. And the reason for that is environment. Really, government wants to discourage diesel vehicles and therefore there is a differential. They have continued with the differential. And I don't think effective rate is going up. Also, what you have to factor in is that a lot of taxes that you pay today on inputs becomes a cost fee. Like we are sitting in the showroom, the rent paid here, you pay service tax of 15%, but you don't claim an offset today. Tomorrow you will be able to claim offset. So therefore, there are a lot of hidden taxes which the sector pays along the chain, which becomes a cost today, which tomorrow will not be a cost, which will drive down the
is it just a mindset then? I want to take that question very quickly to Mr. Khattar as well. And so if I could add on to that, you know, one of the great positives of GST that people are talking about today is going to be one car, one price across the country. You know, Maharashtra like has higher rates, you know, and people said that if you want to buy a car, buy it in Delhi because it's going to be cheaper. So that levels out completely. Registration, of course, remains to be an issue, but that's going to be a level.
No, that's correct. So, I mean, there are a lot of benefits from this. There is no denying about it. And it will be one price and the movement of the cars can take place, etc. So, there is no question about it. You know, a little bit of diversion, we are all concentrating on new cars. My worry is second-hand cars. You know, we sell 3 million new cars. We sell more than 4 million second-hand cars. Today, we were trying to get organized people in so that you can give an assurance to customers. Now what is happening is, now the new GST, whatever be the buying price of a second hand car and selling price, jo uska difference hoga, the tax is going to be 28 and 45%. I mean, people who are buying second hand cars are not used to paying that taxes. And that tax is the same as a new cars, depending if it's a small car is 28, if it's a luxury car is 45. That is going to affect terribly, and I think the government is going to lose revenue because many people will buy and sell on cash, they won't do it. So I think and second-hand cars play a very major role in selling new cars because you exchange a second-hand car with a new car. I think all of us are concentrating on this, yes, all aspects, and I think leasing is going to be affected. So that has been discussed, but I think we need to focus on the second-hand car market, which is very critical. People who cannot buy a second-hand car, a new car, they buy a second-hand small car. For them it will be very expensive, and I think we are going to have a lot of problem in that area.